guys, this is Sharifa here for Ask an Immigration Attorney Live. Before I start, I just want to let you know that the information I will be providing to you, so even if I'm answering your questions, it's not going to be personalized legal advice. In order to get personalized legal advice, go ahead and give me a call, schedule your consultation, and then we can discuss your particular matter. However, the information I'll be providing to you is general information based on current immigration law that will guide you to decide, what you need to do, whether you need to, if you feel like you don't need it, any further legal advice, or you feel like you really need to get on it. Sometimes my answers can help you make that decision. So go ahead and ask your questions in the comment box, and I will go ahead and answer your questions as they come in. So what I will do in the meantime while I wait for questions to come in is I'm going to talk about a particular topic. And today I thought I would talk about how to go from undocumented to a green card, all while staying in the United States. Based on either your perception or even past legal advice, you may have been told that if you have no qualifying relatives or U.S. citizen relatives and you're here without status, or you're here and you've been here a number of days without any legal papers, you've probably been told that there's no way for you to get a green card while being here. However, perhaps whoever was providing you the legal advice, which should be an attorney, perhaps they didn't dig deep enough. Maybe there are circumstances in your life that would qualify you for a permanent residence in the United States, and you haven't explored those options. Maybe you don't think that you qualify for those options. So I'm going to go over some other options that would help you decide whether you should really explore other options in regards to obtaining your green card while staying in the United States. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the obvious. So it's immediate relatives. So green cards through immediate relatives. That's the one that everybody more or less knows about. If you are here without your legal papers, and so you're here without your legal papers, and you want to apply for a green card through a relative, the best relative or family member to apply through is your U.S. citizen spouse, parent, or son or daughter over 21. So that's a good place to start. Now, where you go from there depends on the circumstances of your entry into the United States. So for one, if you came into the US legally with a visa, then you would be able to adjust status even while undocumented. Even with unlawful presence, you'd be able to adjust status. Now, if you came without permission, so you came without any visas, you just crossed the border, there are waiver options available where you can stay here and go through the waiver approval process first. And if approved, then you would go to another country, your home country, for the consular process interview. So that's the obvious. That's the one everybody knows about. However, I'm going to touch on some others where you can do all of that. So you can change your status from undocumented to a green card without leaving. And in some cases, maybe even without the waiver. But I'm going to touch on that a little bit. For those who are just joining me, I want to let you know that feel free to go ahead and put your questions in the comment box. I'm monitoring the comments, And as your comments come in, I will answer your questions. In the meantime, I am talking about the topic of going from undocumented to green card while staying in the United States. I just talked about going through the immediate relative. So the immediate relative is you are the son, daughter, spouse of or parent of a U.S. citizen. So that's the first avenue of applying for a green card. So that's the first qualifying requirement that you're going to need to go from undocumented to green card in the United States. So there are others though, because the circumstances in individuals' lives differ, and these are less explored options that I want to bring to your attention. And the first one I'm going to talk about is VAWA. So VAWA, if you have a family member, specifically a U.S. citizen, so a U.S. citizen parent, a U.S. citizen spouse, or a U.S. citizen son or daughter, or you have a permanent resident spouse or parent here in the U.S. and you are being mistreated. So the legal term is if you are experiencing abuse and extreme cruelty by these individuals. But I like to say the first thing, my rule of thumb is if you are being mistreated by your family members that I just listed, then there is the option of VAWA application for your green card. And you can apply for that by yourself. You don't need all you need to do is prove your relationship with these individuals. So the legal permanent resident family member or the U.S. citizen family member. Other than that, you don't need them to sign any papers, give permission or anything to help you apply for your green card. That's an option. Now, I want to go back to that word abuse and extreme cruelty. A lot of people think the abuse has to be something extreme like physical abuse, domestic violence. While that is included, of course, there is a broader definition of abuse. It can range from so if you are being mistreated, I think you should explore this option. So the kinds of treatment that qualify as abuse are, of course, the physical, sexual. Then there are other forms, so verbal, emotional abuse, coercion, manipulation, social isolation, blackmailing. These are all types of or forms of abuse or extreme cruelty. So, for example, I got the question of what, so a person sent me a message and says that their U.S. citizen spouse is withholding their passport and preventing them from leaving or doing what they want to do. That would definitely be the kind of behavior that would qualify for VAWA, or one of the behaviors. And of course, describing the pattern of abuse or extreme cruelty or mistreatment is key here. However, that's one of the behaviors that would qualify under VAWA, because this person is being basically held against their will because the spouse, U.S. citizen spouse, is holding their identifying documents, their identification, they're holding it to prevent them from freely doing what they want to do. So it's, as you can see, there's no physical abuse, there's no violence. It's just holding the person's passport that's sort of coercion or manipulation to prevent the person from exercising their free will. So definitely, if you're experiencing something like that, you should seek advice about the VAWA self-petition. Now, this VAWA self-petition allows an undocumented individual to stay in the United States, apply for the green card, and go through that process while they're here. So they would apply for it. If you applied for it, you would apply, get your work permit, and then there would be the approval process where all being well, you would be approved and get your green card, right? So, and there are certain benefits to this self-petition. So to be able to reduce the obstacles in front of someone who is being abused, mistreated in a familial relationship, they have also made sure that this person doesn't have to worry about proving their economic support. So the public charge rule does not apply to them. So they don't have to go through that wealth test to show that they qualify for the green card. So in addition to that, children under the age of 21 can also be included in the application, and they don't need to be enduring any kind of abuse, mistreatment, or extreme cruelty themselves. You just have to show that they are your relative, your son or daughter under 21 and unmarried to be able to qualify for the green card along with you. So definitely something that's not explored very much by even attorneys during the vetting process. And if you feel like you are being mistreated in the relationship, if there is a pattern of behavior that is leading to trauma, if you are going through emotional trauma as a result of the behavior of your U.S. citizen or permanent resident family member, your parent, your spouse, and your U.S. citizen son and daughter, you need to get help. And on top of that, they're refusing to apply for your green card, which that's a common thing. So in order to manipulate you, in order to keep you from exercising your free will, and in order to prevent you from leaving, and in order to control you, they often refuse to apply for the green card for you. So if that's the case, know that you can do it by yourself. So as I see Kadeja Beeks. So hi Kadeja, you have, and if you have here, how does one prove relations? So it depends on the type of relationship, but when we're talking about children, spouses, it's going to be birth certificates, marriage certificates. That's a definite, a must, a requirement here. And in terms of, so if the green card is based on a spousal relationship, then we go a little deeper. You have to show that, for example, it's a bona fide relationship. It's a real marriage, and that's just to avoid the perception or presumption that it is a fraudulent marriage. And that there you have to, show your ongoing communication with your spouse, your shared address through, through bills or mail that the both of you receive mail at the same place, and pictures over time, sometimes affidavits from family members and friends. And then in addition to that, you can get very creative with showing spousal a spousal relationship too. So there's even the idea of showing a tattoo, that matching tattoo that the two of you got. You can get very creative with showing relationships. Now, in regards to the VAWA application, I think the same applies in order to show that you do have a relationship with a person. You can show this kind of evidence as well, in addition to the marriage certificate. And you also have to prove your spouse or your other family members' status. So whether they're a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. All right. Thank you for that question. If you have any more questions, just keep them coming, because that's why I'm here. I'm here to answer all your immigration questions. All right. So I am right now, as I said, I'm talking about ways to go from undocumented, so no legal papers, to a green card. And I'm touching mainly on the avenues that you may not have thought of, not even a previous attorney that you visited. They may not have thought of that either, if they didn't do an in-depth evaluation of your circumstances. So the other ones I talked about, the VAWA application and those who qualify for it, and some of the benefits. Now I'm going to touch on what's called the U visa. So if you're a U visa recipient, so you've already gotten the visa, the U visa. The U visa is for people who were the victims of certain crimes. And, oh, you're welcome. I'm glad I could answer your questions. And if you have any follow-ups or you have any more, any other questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask away. That's what I'm here for. All right. So back to the U visa recipient. So if you received a U visa, then you can adjust status. Now, so sometimes it's a strategic thing, right? So as a U visa recipient, if you've held it for 3 years, then you can go ahead and apply for your green card while staying in the United States. So the first thing I do with my clients, my potential clients, is to see if they qualify for the U visa to begin with. Because first they can get the U visa, they hold on to the U visa for some years, and then they apply for permanent residence or the green card after the required time has passed. So to qualify for the U visa, you have to be the victim of a qualifying crime, and so the qualifying crime is not, so the list I'm going to give you is not an exclusive list, but you have to be the victim of crimes similar to what I'm going to list. So assault, domestic violence, kidnapping, robbery, some sort of coercive crime. So if somebody manipulated you into a situation, then that could possibly be a U visa offense. So I want you to be very open-minded. If you have been the victim of any kind of crime, it is worth looking into. Do not count yourself out for the U visa. Make sure you seek legal advice immediately to see if you would qualify for the U visa and jump on it. Now, the downside of the U visa is that there is a wait list. The upside is while you're waiting for the U visa to, the decision on the U visa, you can apply for a work permit. So you still get to stay here and work here while the U visa is being processed, okay? So another one is a T visa, and the T visa is, excuse me. The T visa is similar to the U visa. There is no wait list right now, so that's great. But it is for victims of sex and labor trafficking. So once again, I want you to be very open-minded about how you would qualify for this. Most people think in order to qualify for as a victim of sex or labor trafficking, it has to involve some sort of physical restraints or violence. In this case, it is not. If you have been coerced, manipulated into working for someone, for example, in labor trafficking, working for someone in the United States without being paid, then that is a possible labor trafficking offense for which you could get. So if you are the victim of the labor trafficking situation that I just described, you could possibly qualify for a T visa. So go ahead and make sure that you seek legal advice. The key here is I'm giving you the information you need to jump on it and get legal help, right? I know for me, I can do the heavy lifting. I can figure it out for my clients, but I want to bring this to your awareness so you know that there may be options for you worth exploring, right? But don't worry about the nitty-gritty of it all. That is my job. So once I determine that, yes, you qualify for this, it's my job to prove it, okay? So the next one, of course, if you were granted asylum or refugee status, then that is a path to eventual permanent residence in the United States. As I'm talking, I just want to stop for a minute to let you guys know that you can go ahead and ask your questions in the comment box. As they're coming in, I will answer your questions. So don't wait until I finish talking to ask your questions. I'm available. That's what I'm here for, mainly to answer your questions. In the meantime, I'm telling you about a topic I think is important to bring to your attention, but it's all about you and your questions today. So feel free to type your questions in the comment box. All right. So I also want to touch on something else called the I-601A waiver. So let's go back to, so if you don't qualify for any of these, right? Well, you have to qualify for at least one of these. So let's go back to the immediate relative scenario and say you came into the country. You came in without permission, you crossed the border without any kind of inspection, without any visa, and you are here without status. And say your relative, there's no mistreatment in the familial relationship, everything is fine, then of course you wouldn't qualify for the VAWA or the U or the T visa, which would allow you to stay here and apply. But there is the I-601A waiver that allows you to apply for forgiveness for being here without your legal papers. And you can wait for the waiver to be approved. Now, because you cross without permission, you don't qualify for VAWA or the U or the T visas. So these are all the visas I just listed. You would have to make sure, okay, so I have another question. If someone was bounded over the peace some years ago, would they still be able for? Okay, so I I'm going to need a little bit of clarification from you. So you said someone was bounded over the piece some years ago. Would they still be able to? So is bounded over the piece? Can you describe to me what that is exactly? It's the first time I've heard that term. Is that is that a criminal matter or some sort of civil violation? Just describe that to me in the comment box, and then I can elaborate. I can answer your question. So I'm going to wait for you to just explain to me what bounded over the piece is. And then I can move forward. So in the meantime, let me just go ahead and just describe the waiver again until I get clarification from Khadijah about what the bounded over the piece is. I'm thinking it's criminal. It sounds like a criminal. Sounds like a criminal issue, but I'll wait a bit. But let me finish my thought on the I-601A hardship waiver. So in that case, if none of the other options I explained before are available, you are in the country and you are without any status, you crossed without permission, then that extreme hardship waiver may be a way for you to get permission so that when you do travel to the embassy abroad for your final interview, the officer would not use that against you. So, yeah, so you would have to, so that's a good option if none of the other options are available. So what do I mean by the I-601A extreme hardship waiver? So you will have to show, in order to qualify for this waiver, you'll have to have your qualifying relatives, so U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parents, and you would have to show that these qualifying relatives would experience extreme hardship if you were not permitted to come back to the United States. So you were not permitted to enter the United States with permanent residence. So make sure, yeah, so this is just a very good option. All right, so we're closing, we're almost at 30 minutes. I do want to get back to the question. Khadijah never gave me any clarification on what bounded over the piece meant. Let me see. So I am just going to do something quickly here. I'm gonna Google it and see what. Okay, so I believe this looks like it comes out of a British origin, and it sounds like it's something that is related to a criminal issue. So I'm going to give a very general answer based on that. Okay, so keeping the peace, good behavior. Thank you. So if someone was bounded over the piece. Okay, so I don't know if this is, I don't know if you're talking about if this is a British term. It's not a term that is in the United States. But no, you would not, in the United States, you would not qualify for permanent residence just on good behavior alone. There has to be some other requirements. So for example, which I just listed, so through a relative, through humanitarian. So if you're seeking refuge here in the United States, you've been the victim of a crime, you're the victim of a domestic abuse or mistreatment or extreme cruelty by your family, or you have immediate relatives here in the United States, those are, you have to have meet requirements like that to get your permanent residence in the United States. Now, I don't know about places like England. That might be. I think this seems to be originating out of England, and so in that case, you would have to seek British immigration attorney to advise you on what you would qualify for based on your keeping the peace or good behavior. But here, now, certainly, good behavior, of course, is something that the officer looks for when they're going to make a decision on your application. But it is not the only thing that can get you your green card in the United States. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for your questions. And if you need any assistance, please go ahead and give me a call at 561-454-8889. Schedule a consultation with me, see what your options are, and let's get started on your case. Thank you again, guys. The time went by so quickly, but I will be back again. So just follow me. Share my videos. I do a number of informative videos, share with friends and family, acquaintances, to let them know that I am here to help them if they're in an immigration situation. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.